One of the biggest mistakes people make when dieting is they focus so much on the how to and the diet and the calories in and the calories out, and they don't have a plan what to do in the moments that count. So what do I mean by the moments that count? Well, if you think about it, for most people who've struggled with their weight for years, their problem is they sort of know all the diets, you've tried everything. They know they need to burn more calories than they consume for a period of time so that the body uses stored calories to make up that deficit. Because we're always going to be in balance. It's just whether the calories that are being burned are either coming from consumption or from what's stored as fat on our bodies. So, the biggest problem for people who've been struggling for years and years is their calorie intake via consumption. And they struggle to stick to targets. The reason for that is because they've got an addictive behavior with food. Now, how does an addictive behavior manifest? It manifests as cravings. So, what happens is we say we have a calories in target for the day of 1,800 calories or something. We can plan our calories as much as we like, what we're going to eat that day. But at points in the day, calories are going to come along, smack us in the face, and test us. Now, most people, this is what I'm saying, most people do not have a plan for. Their only plan, and it's not even conscious, is that they're going to use willpower or discipline or motivation to ride that craving. And the truth is that this is why most people last, at first, a couple of months, but as the diet roller coaster goes on and on, people find that they can't last more than a few days because the cravings come and they just quit on the willpower because that it's kind of like we know it's not going to work. We're going to run out of willpower. We're going to run out of discipline. And of course, the longer this roller coaster goes on, or being on the diet hamster wheel, the longer that goes on, the lower our confidence gets, the more we think there's something wrong with us, and it just gets harder and harder. But can you imagine if you beat the cravings such that you're not getting them smacking you in the face 50 times a day? I know when I was struggling with my weight, when I became really conscious of cravings, I was getting chocolate cravings like 50 plus times a day because I started journaling them to work out what was going on. Can you imagine, like, if that went down to 5? How much easier it'd be for you to stick to your calorie targets over long periods of time because you're not relying on willpower. It's an absolute game changer, and it is the way for you to change your life because you will lose weight permanently. You will lose it steadily when you start doing this, and you will lose it permanently because you'll get on top of it. Now, my craving control system has 3 kind of principles to it. The first principle is that we want to crave less often. So the first thing we do is kind of in that chapter is we learn how to get triggered less often. So this is what I'm saying about, can you imagine going from having to say no and use willpower 50 times a day to maybe 3 or 5 times a day? How much easier it's going to be for you to stick to your calories in target and therefore lose weight easily and permanently. Total game changer. The second one is having a plan for when cravings do come. So first one is having them less often. The second one is a plan for when they do come. Now this is loads of different things. Some of them can be specific to you, but it's having a plan for when the cravings come of what you're going to do. I've just mentioned one when I said that I was journaling and I ended up journaling over 50 times a day per chocolate craving. Just that awareness that you're in a craving and that there's something going on in your body is a game changer. But then there's lots of other things that I do when I get a craving. Not that I get them that much now, but there's lots of other things that I'm doing to try and fend off the craving. and to see that it's not a problem, to see that I'm okay, and to see that I can get to the other side of this craving as long as I do the things I've got to do as part of my plan. So that's the second part. The third part is having a plan for when we don't beat off the craving. So that's going to happen. It's going to, like, it doesn't happen to me with alcohol or with gambling or with smoking anymore. And then because of with food addiction, it's slightly different because you've got to carry on eating. And, I still eat chocolate. I still eat ice cream. I haven't banned them. I just want to not be in a craving state with them so often. I want to plan for the times where I go, "Oh, I'm not going to eat this," but then I do eat it, and my mind makes an excuse like we're on holiday or whatever, and I do eat it because we have a tendency, especially those of us that have been on the diet roller coaster for a long time, we have a tendency to go into a downward spiral whenever we eat bad food because we've been told it's bad food or we've heard it's bad food. We've got an association that it's bad food. We tend to go into a downward spiral, which then sets our nervous system off. It's stressful and whatever. All that's doing is bringing the next craving closer. The next craving is more likely to come because we're already in stress, because we're like, oh God, I shouldn't have eaten that. Why do I always fail? Why do I have to go over my calories and stuff like that? And it's the old story of bringing more stress on. So that's kind of the three parts of that, the craving control system. And that enabled me to lose weight easily, 2015, 2016. Easily, not particularly quickly, just at a nice rate, and keep it off ever since. I actually put 10 pounds back on purpose because I thought I'd lost too much weight. But it's also then a few years later in 2020 how I stopped drinking. I just went sober, and I used to drink 130 units of alcohol a week. I drank every day except one from the age of 18 to 49. So it's understanding that the way out of this is to be able to deal with cravings. You know what to do. You know 100 diets. You know all these different tactics and stuff and these how-tos, but it's having that plan in the moment when kind of your system is under attack. Hope that helps. Any questions, let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.